Good morning, everyone. In a world where everyone is trying to be seen, heard, and admired, true strength often moves quietly. The more we chase attention, the more we lose ourselves. But when we focus on character, purpose, and inner excellence, people naturally begin to notice us. Today, I want to share a timeless lesson inspired by Marcus Aurelius: the less you seek attention, the more people notice you. Let's explore why silence can be more powerful than noise, and why genuine value always speaks louder than self-promotion. Imagine standing in a crowded room where everyone is trying to speak louder than everyone else. Voices overlap, people compete for recognition, and every person hopes to become the center of attention. At first glance, this may seem like confidence, but in many cases it is driven by something much deeper: the desire to be noticed, accepted, or validated. This desire is natural because human beings are social creatures. We all want appreciation and respect. However, the moment seeking attention becomes our primary goal, it begins to weaken our authenticity. Instead of expressing who we truly are, we start performing for the approval of others. Attention itself is not the problem. Every meaningful achievement receives attention at some point. The problem begins when attention becomes the purpose instead of the result. There is a significant difference between earning recognition through genuine effort and constantly chasing recognition before earning it. One is built on substance, while the other is built on appearance. Many people confuse attention with value. They believe that if more people notice them, they automatically become more important. But reality works differently. A person does not become valuable because people are watching. A person becomes valuable because of their character, skills, discipline, and actions. Recognition is only a reflection of value. It is not the source of value itself. When someone constantly seeks attention, their decisions often begin to change. Instead of asking, "Is this the right thing to do?" they start asking, "Will people notice this?" Instead of focusing on quality, they focus on visibility. Instead of building real abilities, they invest their energy in creating an image that looks impressive. Slowly, the image becomes more important than the person behind it. Authenticity means being genuine even when no one is watching. It means your values remain the same whether you receive applause or criticism. A truly authentic person does not change their principles simply because public opinion changes. They understand that character is developed in private long before it is recognized in public. Think about the strongest buildings in the world. People admire the beautiful exterior, but the real strength lies beneath the ground in the foundation that nobody sees. If the foundation is weak, no amount of decoration can prevent the building from collapsing. Human character works in the same way. The qualities that no one notices: discipline, honesty, patience, humility, and integrity support everything that the world eventually sees. When attention becomes the goal, authenticity slowly disappears because people begin acting according to expectations instead of convictions. They start measuring their worth by reactions instead of principles. Every compliment raises their confidence, and every criticism destroys it. Their emotional stability becomes dependent on the opinions of others. There is a quiet freedom that comes from not needing constant validation. When you stop asking people to approve of every step you take, you gain the confidence to make decisions based on wisdom instead of popularity. You no longer waste energy trying to impress strangers because your focus shifts toward becoming a better version of yourself. History repeatedly shows that the individuals who created lasting impact were usually dedicated to their work more than to their reputation. They invested countless hours improving themselves, learning from failures, and serving a purpose larger than personal recognition. Their achievements eventually attracted admiration because excellence naturally draws attention without demanding it. In today's world, the temptation to seek attention has become stronger than ever. Modern technology allows people to share every achievement, every opinion, every meal, and every moment instantly. While these tools can be useful, they can also encourage people to measure success by visibility rather than substance. It becomes easy to believe that being constantly seen is the same as being truly respected. However, visibility and respect are completely different. Visibility can be purchased, created, or manipulated. Respect must be earned. Anyone can attract attention for a few moments by doing something dramatic, controversial, or unusual. Very few people earn genuine respect because respect grows slowly through consistent character and dependable actions. Someone seeking attention often feels pressure to maintain a certain image. They may exaggerate achievements, hide failures, or pretend to possess qualities they have not developed. This creates stress because maintaining a false image requires continuous effort. Authenticity, on the other hand, requires no performance. You simply become who you truly are. One of the greatest dangers of attention seeking is comparison. The moment approval becomes important, people constantly compare themselves with others. They begin asking who has more recognition, more followers, more praise, or more admiration. This comparison steals peace because there will always be someone receiving more attention. Authentic individuals compete with themselves instead of competing for attention. Their question is not, am I more popular than someone else? Their question is, am I wiser than I was yesterday? Am I stronger than I was last year? Have I improved my character? This mindset creates steady personal growth because progress becomes internal rather than external. Every person has strengths and weaknesses. Authenticity allows us to accept both honestly. Attention-seeking often encourages people to hide weaknesses because they fear appearing imperfect. Yet growth begins only after acknowledging areas that need improvement. A person pretending to know everything stops learning. A person willing to admit mistakes continues growing throughout life. Confidence built on attention is fragile because it depends on external circumstances. If applause disappears, confidence disappears. If compliments stop, self-esteem falls. But confidence built on character remains steady because it comes from knowing your values, abilities, and principles regardless of public opinion. Imagine two students preparing for an important examination. One studies because they genuinely want knowledge and personal growth. The other studies only to receive praise from friends and family. If praise never comes, the second student may lose motivation, while the first continues because learning itself is meaningful. This illustrates the difference between internal purpose and external validation. The same principle applies in careers, relationships, sports, business, and leadership. People driven by purpose remain committed during difficult times because their motivation comes from within. People driven mainly by attention often lose enthusiasm when recognition decreases. Authenticity also strengthens relationships. People naturally trust those who are genuine because they know what to expect. A person constantly changing to gain approval becomes unpredictable. Today they agree with one group, tomorrow with another simply to receive acceptance. Such inconsistency weakens credibility. Trust cannot be demanded, it must be earned through consistency. Consistency becomes possible only when actions are guided by principles instead of public reactions. Authentic people may not please everyone, but others know they are honest about who they are. Many misunderstand humility as weakness. In reality, humility is one of the strongest forms of authenticity. A humble person does not need to constantly announce achievements because they know their work speaks for itself. They are comfortable allowing results to represent them instead of endless self-promotion. Silence often reveals confidence more effectively than excessive self-advertisement. Someone secure in their abilities rarely need to convince everyone of their greatness. They understand that genuine excellence becomes visible over time. Trees carrying the sweetest fruit do not shout about their value. People discover them because of what they produce. Another consequence of attention seeking is distraction. Every moment spent worrying about how others perceive us is a moment not spent improving ourselves. Instead of practicing skills, developing knowledge, or strengthening discipline, energy is consumed by maintaining appearances. Imagine an athlete spending more time posing for photographs than training. For a short period, they may appear successful, but eventually competition exposes reality. Skill cannot be replaced by appearance. Preparation cannot be substituted with popularity. Life constantly tests authenticity. Difficult moments reveal whether our values are genuine or merely convenient. Anyone can appear kind when life is easy. True character appears during hardship, disappointment, criticism, and failure. These moments expose what attention can never hide. Failure itself becomes easier to accept when attention is no longer the priority. If your goal is personal growth, failure becomes a teacher. If your goal is public approval, failure becomes something to hide. Authentic individuals understand that mistakes provide valuable lessons. They focus on improvement instead of protecting their image. One remarkable quality of authentic people is emotional stability. Praise does not make them arrogant, and criticism does not destroy them. They evaluate feedback wisely without allowing every opinion to define their identity. This balance protects inner peace. People often admire confidence, but authentic confidence is surprisingly quiet. It does not require constant recognition because it already knows its own worth. It listens more than it speaks. It learns more than it boasts. It focuses more on progress than on applause. Authenticity encourages patience. Instead of rushing toward quick recognition, authentic individuals accept that meaningful success requires time. They understand that skills develop gradually, trust grows slowly, and excellence demands consistent effort. Nature itself demonstrates this principle. A seed spends a long period growing beneath the soil before anyone notices it. During that hidden stage, roots develop strength. Without those unseen roots, visible growth would never survive. Human development follows the same pattern. Invisible effort always comes before visible achievement. Many young people believe they must constantly prove themselves to everyone around them. In reality, the greatest proof is consistent action over time. Words can impress briefly, but habits reveal truth. Promises create expectations, while actions create credibility. Authenticity also allows people to remain true during changing circumstances. Fashion changes, trends change, public opinion changes, social expectations change. Principles such as honesty, discipline, kindness, courage, and integrity remain valuable regardless of changing trends. When someone bases their identity entirely on attention, every change in public opinion creates insecurity. They constantly adjust themselves to fit whatever gains approval. Over time, they lose connection with their real values because they become experts at pleasing others instead of understanding themselves. Self-awareness protects authenticity. It requires asking honest questions. What do I truly believe? What kind of person do I want to become? What values will guide my decisions even when nobody is watching? These questions are far more important than asking how many people notice us. A meaningful life is built from countless small decisions made privately. Choosing honesty when lying would be easier. Choosing discipline when laziness feels comfortable. Choosing patience instead of anger. Choosing learning instead of pretending. These quiet choices shape character far more than public recognition ever could. When people eventually notice authentic individuals, they usually admire qualities developed over many years. They see reliability, wisdom, resilience, kindness, and integrity. None of these qualities were created by seeking attention. They were created through repeated daily choices made without expecting applause. The paradox is that the less energy people spend trying to appear impressive, the more impressive they often become. Genuine confidence attracts respect because it is rooted in reality rather than performance. Authenticity creates influence because people recognize sincerity when they encounter it. Every person must eventually decide which is more important, temporary attention or lasting character. Attention fades quickly. Today's headlines become tomorrow's forgotten stories. Character remains. It shapes every relationship, every decision, every opportunity, and every legacy a person leaves behind. Those who prioritize authenticity discover something remarkable. They become less anxious about opinions, more committed to growth, more focused on purpose, and more satisfied with steady progress. Their identity becomes anchored in values rather than applause, allowing them to live with greater peace, confidence, honesty, and integrity.